ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪੁ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਨਾ ਨਾਹਿਨ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਕੈ ਅੰਚਲ ਲਾਭ ਹੋ ਬਿਖਮ ਨਦੀ ਜਾਇ ਤਰਣੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਮੂਰਖ ਕੀ ਕੇਤਕ ਬਾਤ ਹੈ ਕੋਟ ਪਰਾਧੀ ਤਰਿਆਰੇ ਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਪੇਖਿਆ ਸੇ ਫਿਰ ਗਰਭਾਸ ਨਾ ਪਰਿਆ ਰੇ ਤੇਰੇ ਜੋਰ ਮੈਂ ਗੂੰਗਾ ਕਹਤਾ ਹੂੰ ਤੇਰਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਰਨ
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਜੇ ਅਸ ਤੁਜ ਤਬ ਸਰਨੀ ਪਰੇ ਤਿਨਕੇ ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਦੁਖਤ ਹੋਇ ਮਰੇ ਪੁਰਖ ਜਵਨ ਪਗ ਪਰੇ ਤਿਹਾਰੇ ਤਿਨਕੇ ਤੁਮ ਸੰਕਟ ਸਭ ਟਾਰੇ ਜੇ ਅਸ ਤੁਜ ਤਬ ਸਰਨੀ ਪਰੇ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਪਤਿਤ ਪਾਵਨ ਭਗਤ ਵਤਸਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਖਜ਼ਾਨੇ ਜੋਤ ਰੂਪ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ। We're blessed again to be gathered together to continue learning the meanings of Sri Chaupai Sahib. Sri Chaupai Sahib is the Bani, the fourth Bani used by Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji to prepare Khande di Pahul. It is the fourth Bani of the Gursikhs Amrit Vela Nitnem. It is the Bani that protects us, that takes away all obstacles in front of us. We heard last time, when we've listened to and reflected upon the first 20 Paudiyan, the 20 verses of Sri Chaupai Sahib. Chaupai, we learnt, means Paudi with Chau, 4 Pangtiyan, 4 lines. So each verse of Sri Chaupai Sahib has 4 lines, each Paudi does. We learned that Sri Chaupai Sahib is the Bani on the path of spirituality. If we started with Sri Japji Sahib, the Bani that gives us Brahm Gyan, the true knowledge of Waheguru, the true knowledge of the Almighty. When we gain that true knowledge and the understanding of what we are here to do, we then begin to praise the Lord. And we praise the Lord through Sri Jap Sahib, the first Bani of Sri Dasam Granth Sahib Ji, the Bani given to us by Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji. As we start praising the Lord and the Almighty, we understand the difference between what is true and what is false. We understand that this world is actually false. False because it doesn't stay forever. It's an illusion we call Maya. And it's false just like we are false in the sense that we don't last forever. We could only be true if we were immortal. The only truth is the Almighty Lord, God. In their Nirgun form, the formless, Akal Purkh Waheguru, and in their Sargun form with characteristics, all qualities, the form of Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the form of Waheguru on this earth, Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Dasam Patshahiyan Di Jodh, the living Guru, the living enlightener of the Sikhs. We realize that falseness, that this world is false. And so we develop Bairag. Bairag again means loss of love for the world, for materialism, for society, and the longing for oneness with the Lord, with Akal Purkh Waheguru. And we develop that Bairag through singing the praises or through reciting Tuai Prasad Savaiye, Sravag Sud Samuh Siddhan Ke, the Savaiye, those Savaiye with 10 Paudiyan which are contained in Akal Ustad, another Bani from Sri Dasam Granth Sahib Ji. And as we develop that Bairag and we understand about falseness and Pakhand, because that's what the Bani of Savaiye does also, helps us realize about falseness, and it stops us from this Pakhand because we realize the true path. But as we walk on that path, we may get many obstacles because the forces of Kaljug in this world, as we live through it, the forces of society pull us away from our path of spirituality, the path that is going to allow us to become one with the Lord, and it pulls us back and we develop duality. We have two choices, Dubada. Sometimes we want to break free from the birth and death life cycle, and sometimes we get caught up in society, in the materialistic way, in this world, in this illusion. And we need support, we need protection while we're living in this world, we need support to take away all these obstacles. And that support comes from this Bani of Sri Chaupai Sahib. So Sri Chaupai Sahib we heard last time, it protects us, Rakhya. Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Akal Purkh Waheguru, they protect us through the recitation and the reflection of Sri Chaupai Sahib. But at the same time as protecting us, it takes away all those obstacles. And that's why it is called Benti. Kabio Bach Benti. It's a Benti from the Kavi, from Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji in Nimrata to Akal Purkh Waheguru. And as we recite it, then we're doing benti to Dhan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, Akal Purkh Waheguru, Dhan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, to remove all obstacles that are on our path and protect us as we follow this path of spirituality. In the past, many Guru Sikhs have recited Sri Chaupai Sahib, and by reciting and if you have true faith in Akal Purkh Waheguru, by reciting Sri Chaupai Sahib, any of our wishes will be granted. Any of our wishes will be granted because we're doing a benti, a request. And when we request, when we put a request to our Guru and to the Lord God, then our Lord always blesses us with that and lets what we want to happen. So many Guru Sikhs have recited Sri Chaupai Sahib over and over whenever they're caught up in an issue, when they need something solved, because it's a benti to Akal Purkh Waheguru to remove those obstacles, to protect them while that happens. And those Guru Sikhs, those Sikhs of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji are granted that boon where those obstacles are taken away and they are protected as they live in this world, following the path of spirituality, ultimately to become one with Waheguru. We've heard that Sri Chaupai Sahib was recited by Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji at a place called Bibaur Sahib, which is near Sri Anandpur Sahib, where the Takht Sri Keskar Sahib is situated. It's near there, and it is there where Dhan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji gave us this Bani of Sri Chaupai Sahib. We've heard and reflected upon the first 20 pauriyan, the first 20 verses. Let us focus and concentrate and continue reflecting on the teachings Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji has given us through this part of Sri Chaupai Sahib.
Satnam Sri Waheguru Sahib Ji, Je as toj tav sarni pare.
Je as toj. Astoj is the name or a name for the Almighty Lord Akal Purkh Waheguru. Astoj. As meaning sword or talwar, and it's the description of the Almighty Lord having a talwar or a sword in their hands. So Astoj, Je Astoj, Tav Sarni Pare. Sarni means their sharan, their sanctuary. If we fall or come to the sanctuary of Akal Purkh Waheguru, the wielder of the sword that destroys all our enemies, but the sword of knowledge also that can be translated to. So if we fall in the sanctuary or come to the sanctuary of Akal Purkh Waheguru Dhan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji,
Tinke dukht hai mare.
Tinke dust. So those who come to the sanctuary, Tinke, what happens? Dust, dukht hai mare. Dust, our enemies. Dukht, our pains and sufferings, hai mare. They are killed, they are destroyed. So all our enemies, whether they be physical enemies, we heard that last time round as well, that's the theme going through Sri Chaupai Sahib, whether it's our physical enemies or any obstacles in front of us in our life, or whether they are the Panj Chor or the Vishavikar, those enemies, the enemies inside of us that lead us astray, those enemies are destroyed, and any pains and sufferings, they are also destroyed by the wielder of the sword, Akal Purkh Waheguru Dhan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Purkh javan pag pare tihari.
Purkh javan pag pare tihari. So when a person, or those persons, javan pag, pag is translated to feet or the charan of Akal Purkh Waheguru Dhan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Purkh javan pag pare tihare. If they fall at your feet, those persons who fall at your blessed feet, your charan, Akal Purkh Waheguru,
Tinke tum sankat sab tare.
Tinke tum. So for those people, for those Tinke tum, you sankat sab tare. All those afflictions, all those obstacles are destroyed, are removed. So those who fall at your feet, Akal Purkh Waheguru Dhan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, all obstacles are removed from their path so they can develop on their path of spirituality. But like I've said earlier, even while living in this world, any physical obstacles are also removed. Any worldly obstacles are also removed, because Akal Purkh Waheguru not only protects us spiritually, they also protect us in the physical sense, in this physical world, while we're living in this world, while we're doing kirta, while we're living honest lives, while we're sharing with others, while we're repeating the name of the Lord. Naam japna, vand ke shagna, kirt karni. While we live in this world, all physical and spiritual obstacles are removed, all our enemies, all our pains and sufferings are destroyed. So Jo Kal Ko, Kal meaning Kaljug, this age of Kaljug, this fourth age in the cycle of 4 ages, which starts with Satyug, moves to Treta, then it was Dwapar, the 3rd age, and now we're in this age of Kaljug. The dark age is what is described as in English, where falseness is Pradhan, is the leader, where righteous acts are very rare, where truthfulness through people is rare, because everybody is caught up in materialism, in falseness, in Jute, and they are led astray by the Panch Jod, which have more effect, which pull them into society, and they get caught up into duality, Dvaita Pavana. So in this age of Kaljug, Jo Kal Ko, in this age of Kaljug, those people, those who ek baar te hai, even one time, even once, with complete dedication and complete focus, if you even once, ek baar te hai, even once with complete dedication, devotion, true love, focus, concentration, meditate on the name of the Lord. Take Kal, death, time. Kal obviously can be a stain. Take Kal. So ultimately it means death. Ultimately it means time, our time of death. Take Kal. Nikat naha. Nikat means close. Naha. Take Kal nikat naha. No. Comes. So even Kal, even death cannot come close. Those who even with true devotion, even one time, repeat the name of the Lord. That's how much Akal Purkh Waheguru Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji has blessed us when they came to this world. They're promising us in their 10th form that even once with true devotion you remember Akal Purkh Waheguru, then even death cannot come close to you. That while we're living, like I said, Kal can be translated to being a stain. No stains, no doshas can come even near, because you become immortal. You've tread on that path of Gursikhi, and you've already given your head. You've already died. You've been reborn. And because you've given your head to the Panj Pyare, you're already immortal. So death is not going to come anywhere near again. You've given all that up. You are immortal because you are at the feet. You are on the path. You are the son or the daughter of Akal Purkh Waheguru Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Raksha hoye tahe sab kala.
Raksha hoye tahe sab kala. Raksha, protection. De hoye tahe. They are always protected. They are protected at all times. Sabakala, kala meaning time here. So kal in the first instance we translate to death, or it could have been time, the end of your time, or our time, but here kala means time. Raksha hoye tahe sabakala. At all times you will be protected.
Dosta arista tara tatakala.
Dosta, all our enemies. Arista, all our pains and sorrows. Tare tatakala. Tare means removed. Tatakal means this instant, this time. So in an instant, instantaneously, all our pains, all our enemies, all our sorrows, all our sufferings are removed. We are protected at all times. Death cannot come near us if only we repeat the name of the Lord even once with true devotion and true loving and true focus.
Kripa drishta tan jahe ne hariho.
Kripa drishta tan jahe ne hariho. Kripa, blessings, grace. Drishta, that glance of grace and of blessings. Kripa drishta tan, our body, jahe ne hariho.
ਤਾਕੇ ਤਾਪ ਤਨਕ ਮੋਹ ਹਰਹੁ
So whoever gets blessed with those blessings, that grace, that glance from Akal Purkh Waheguru, Take Taap Tanakam Meh Harho. Take Taap. Taap meaning pains and sufferings, afflictions, any sins. Take Taap Tanakam Meh Harho. They are instantaneously removed. Those who are blessed with that vision, with that drist by the glance of Waheguru.
ਰਿੱਧ ਸਿੱਧ ਘਰ ਮੋ ਸਭ ਹੋਈ
Riddh te Siddh. Riddh and Siddh, Riddhiya and Siddhiya, the spiritual or occult treasures that when you go on the path of spirituality, those treasures that are given on the path or that can be found on that path. Riddh Siddh Kar Mo Sab Hoi. Kar, our body, they come falling at our feet because we're on that path of spirituality. And ultimately, we don't need those treasures because our path is to become one with the Lord. But Guru Sahib is saying, Riddh Siddh Kar Mo Sab Hoi. So, any spiritual treasures or even worldly treasures come to our home. Riddh Siddh Kar Mo Sab Hoi.
ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਸ਼ਾਹ ਸਵੈ ਸਕੈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ
Dust, enemies, Shaha, Shwe, Sakena Koi. Shwe means like to touch. So even our enemies or those Panj Jor, those our instincts that that lead us away from oneness, Dust, Shaha, Shwe, Sakena Koi. Those physical enemies or those spiritual enemies, they can't even touch us. And like I said, Guru Sahib Ji gives us spiritual and materialistic wealth because they look out for their Sikh, they look out for their son and daughter to allow them to live without any tensions, without any pains and sufferings, and that is what this Bani of Sri Chaupai Sahib is doing. So Riddh Siddh Kar Mo Sab Hoi. You get those treasures worldly and spiritually as you're on that path because you've been glanced, you've been looked at by the blessed vision of Akal Purkh Waheguru.
ਏਕ ਬਾਰ ਜਿਨ ਤੁਮੈ ਸੰਭਾਰਾ
So, ek baar, even once, jin tumhe sambhara, even once, those who remember you, if those who remember you even once,
ਕਾਲ ਫਾਂਸ ਤੇ ਤਾਹੇ ਉਬਾਰਾ
kal fas, fas meaning like the noose, when a person's going to be hanged in the old days, they would call that a fas, kal fas, that noose of death, te tahe obara, they are saved from that noose of death, those who remember you even one time, Akal Purkh Waheguru.
ਜਿਨ ਨਰ ਨਾਮ ਤਿਹਾਰੋ ਕਹਾ
Jin nar naam teharo kaha. Jin nar, that person, nar meaning us humans. Jin nar naam, your name that is given to us, that was brought by Tan Sri Guru Sahib Ji, your name that is given to us by the Panj Pyare, when we give our heads and you bless us with Khanderi Pahol. Jin nar naam, that person who teharo kaha, who repeats that name, who meditates on that name.
ਦਾਰਦ ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਦੋਖ ਤੇ ਰਹਾ
Darid, dust, dok, te hara. Hara means removed. Darid, dust, dok. Pains, sufferings, adversity, poverty. Those who meditate on your name, all your pains, sufferings, tensions, there's no words to continually describe those things. They're completely removed because you, Akal Purkh Waheguru, bless that person who meditates on your name.
ਖੜਗ ਕੇਤ ਮੈਂ ਸਰਨ ਤਿਹਾਰੀ
Khadag Ket, again describing Akal Purkh Waheguru as the wielder of the sword. Khadag Ket, Mes Haran Tehari, I am come to your sanctuary.
ਆਪ ਹਾਥ ਦੇ ਲੇਹੁ ਉਬਾਰੀ
Aap Hath, with your hand. Aap Hath there, Leho Ubari, protect me with your own hand, Akal Purkh Waheguru.
ਸਰਬ ਠੌਰ ਮੋਹ ਸਹਾਈ
Sarva Tower, all places, Moho Sahai, protect me, support me, be with me in all places.
ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਦੋਖ ਤੇ ਲੇਹੁ ਬਚਾਈ
Dust Dokha, dust enemies, Dokha, pains, sufferings. So physical enemies, spiritual enemies, any pains, sufferings, tensions, Te Leho Bajai, save me from all evildoers, evil thoughts, evil sins, any bad actions. Protect me from all of those. This is the 25th Pauri, and Chaupai Sahib continues this verse to complete this section to go up to 27 pauriyan. At some points, we see that Sri Chaupai Sahib has only read up to the 25th pauri. But actually, Sri Chaupai Sahib, when Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji gave it to us and recited it for the first time at the Bod Sahib, then they recited it as we're going to read it and reflect on this Bani today. So we shouldn't read Sri Chaupai Sahib up to 25 pauriyan because we're leaving the teachings incomplete. And if we leave the teachings incomplete, we're going to leave the blessings incomplete. And those blessings that we're going to get to be protected, and for our obstacles to removed, maybe they won't be completely removed, and maybe we won't be completely protected. Yes, if you read any Bani, even one Pankti, you'll be protected. But if we leave it incomplete, maybe we don't get complete blessings. So we should always read and recite Sri Chaupai Sahib. Sometimes there are some Gutke Sahibs that only have Sri Chaupai Sahib up to this 25th pauri. However, we shouldn't blame anybody else. We should take it upon ourselves to learn these pauriyan. So if ever we do find a Gutka Sahib that stops at 25 pauriyan, we should know this Bani off by heart so we can continue reading and reciting so we get the complete blessing, and we continue with the 26th pauri. So Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, Kripa Kari, in their nimarta, in their humbleness, to Akal Purkh Waheguru, Kripa Kari, bless me, Kripa Kari ham par Jagamata, bless me, Jagamata. So some who stop Sri Chaupai Sahib at 25 pauriyan would say Jagamata. Akal Purkh Waheguru is not Mata. Mata in the Hindu faith is described as Durga. So they're saying, well, we don't read this extra because this is not Bani, because it's saying Jagamata. You are praying not to Waheguru, you're praying to a deity, a Devi. But we know from Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji that Akal Purkh Waheguru is described as Mata. Tu mera pita, tu hai mera mata. So even Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji uses Bani to describe Waheguru as their mother. So why can't Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji and Sri Chaupai Sahib, why can't we do that? So there's no question why this is not the Bani. Kripa Kari ham par Jagamata. So bless me, mother of the world. And Akal Purkh Waheguru is the mother of the world because they are the ones who sustain us, who give us food, who give us the breath so we can breathe. Just like a mother sustains and looks after their child, Akal Purkh Waheguru and Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji does that for us. So we are doing this request now. Kripa Kari ham par Jagamata. Bless me. Be kind towards me, mother of the world.
Granth Kara Purana Subharata.
Granth Kara Purana Subharata. So Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, when they completed Sri Chaupai Sahib, they wrote these verses to give praise to Akal Purkh Waheguru, who blessed them and allowed them to complete this Granth that they were writing at the time. This Dasam Granth or Baniya from Dasam Granth, as they complete that section, they would be called Granths as well. And Guru Sahib Ji is saying, Kripa Kari ham par Jagamata, you've blessed me, mother of the world. You've allowed me, Granth Kara Puran Sobrata, you've allowed me to complete this Granth on this Sobrata, Rata meaning evening or night, Sob meaning auspicious, on this auspicious night. Because as they recited and they wrote this Bani, it may have come to night time. But when we read this Bani, what should we be reflecting on? We're saying, Kripa Kari ham par Jagamata, you've blessed me, mother of the world, because you've allowed me to read this Granth, to complete this Bani as we're coming to the end of it, of Sri Chaupai Sahib, on this auspicious occasion. Kelbik means sakal, dehe ko harta. Dehe means our body. Kelbik sakal, sakal, all pains. Kelbik means pain, suffering, sins, bad actions that we've collected. So from our body, Kelbik sakal dehe ko harta. Harta, the remover of all those. So Akal Purkh Waheguru, you bless me, mother of the world, for allowing us to complete this Granth on this auspicious occasion. You are the remover of all pains, of all sins, of all bad actions from my body. You remove them for me. And Dosta, Dokyan, again, Dosta, enemies, Dokyan, Dukha, so pain, sufferings, physical enemies, spiritual enemies, Ko Shai Karta. You have destroyed all of those. You are the destroyer of all from my body, from my mind. You have destroyed all of those, Akal Purkh Waheguru.
Sri Astuj Jab Bhai Dayala.
Sri Astuj, the wielder of the sword, Akal Purkh Waheguru, who's Shromani, the highest of the high, Jab Bhai Dayala. When Akal Purkh Waheguru becomes, when they become Dayala, compassionate,
Puran Kara Granth Tatakala.
they allowed us, Puran, and Guru Sahib Ji is saying again, Puran Kara Granth Tatakala. In an instant, they allowed, Akal Purkh, Guru Sahib Ji is saying, they allowed me to complete this Granth Tatakala in an instant, instantaneously. But as we're saying, we will be thinking about Puran Kara Granth Tatakala. You've allowed us to complete the recitation of this Granth Akal Purkh Waheguru in an instant. And those who with their mind Bashat, those who sacrifice their mind by reading and reciting this Bani of Sri Chaupai Sahib, Man Bashat, Fal Pave Soi, Fal, those blessings, the desired fruits, Fal Pave Soi, those who sacrifice their mind will be given those desired fruits or those blessings. Dukh na tise beapat koi. Dukh, pains not tise. To you, you will get no pains beapat koi. They won't have to experience any pains and sufferings. So again, these 27 Pauriyan, if we cut these out, all this is saying, this is actually the final stamp of the Ardas Benti that we're doing to Waheguru by reading Sri Chaupai Sahib. If we cut these out, all we're cutting out is saying, Great Akal Purkh Waheguru who sustains us, it's by your blessings that you've allowed me to complete the recitation of this Gurbani. I'm sacrificing my mind to you, so you give me whatever I desire. And what we desire are those obstacles to be removed and to be protected. So to get that complete blessing, we should always read the complete Bani of Sri Chaupai Sahib. Adil. So Guru Sahib Ji goes on to the 28th Pauri, and this verse is called Adil. Then, again, this bit is cut out as well in some Gutke Sahibs. So why? This is the bit that actually gives us the complete message. If you wanted the message of Sri Chaupai Sahib, of what blessings it gives you, and you want it very, very quickly, if you want a quick summary of what Sri Chaupai Sahib is going to give you, this Adil, this verse is going to explain that to us.
Sonai Gong Jo Yahi Surasana Pavai.
Sonai Gong. So a Gunga, somebody who's dumb, who can't speak, but can only listen. Sonai Gong. So somebody who maybe not be able to speak, who listens to this Bani, what happens to them? Sonai Gong Jo Yahe Surasana Pavai. Rasana means that tongue. So they are blessed with a tongue to be able to speak. This happens physically, if you have that Shraddha and that Prosan, that trust and that faith. But it also means spiritually. If you're not very clever, if you don't understand, some people are described as being dumb in a slang sense. Obviously it's disrespectful, for not being able to understand, for not having a swift or a thoughtful or a sharp, clever mind. But those who recite Sri Chaupai Sahib, even the dumb are given a tongue to be able to speak. So mood means murak, a fool, a foolish person. Sona, even a foolish person who listens, chitalai, with concentration. What happens to a foolish person? Chaturta avai. Chaturta means wisdom. Even they develop great wisdom. Avai. Even great wisdom comes to them if you recite Sri Chaupai Sahib. So you are given a tongue to speak. You are given wisdom, even if you didn't have a tongue, even if you were so foolish, if you're the foolish person on this earth, by reciting Sri Chaupai Sahib, you are blessed with great wisdom. Dukh, dukh, pains, dard, sufferings, pao, fear, nikat na tin nar ke raha. Nikat, to come close, na tin nar. So it doesn't come near that person, tin nar ke raha. So that person, all their pains, sufferings and fear will completely be removed if and only if So like I said before we recited this, or we've reflected on this Shabad, this is the message of Sri Chaupai Sahib. Ho jo yaki ek bar chaupai ko kahe. So even if that person even recites Sri Chaupai Sahib once, ek bar chaupai, this Bani, ko kahe, that person, if he recites this Bani even once with concentration, even if he is dumb, he is given a tongue to speak. He's blessed with that. If he's the foolishest person on this planet, even he is given great wisdom. And then all pains, sufferings, enemies are completely removed, and they don't even come near the person, if and only if they recite this complete Bani of Sri Chaupai Sahib. And that's why Guru Sahib Ji gave us these shabads, which over the last 100 years or so, through external forces or external agencies, if you will, are removing Gurbani, so we don't get those complete blessings, and they are questioning Gurbani. So again, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji explains when they completed this part of Sri Chaupai Sahib. Chaupai, another verse with 4 panktiyan, 4 lines.
Sambat 17 sahas panijjay.
So Sambat 17 sahas panijjay. In the 1700s, that's what just this line means. Sambat, which I know we call this the different centuries, and we're in the 21st century, and in the 1700s we would have been in the 18th century, but Guru Sahib is saying in the 1700s. So Ardh Sahas, so Sahas was the hundreds, Satara was the 17, so that's why you know in the 1700s, and then in the next line Maharaj goes Ardh Sahas. Ardh means half, so half Sahas, half 100, we get 50. Fonateen Kahijja, and then add another 3. 1700s, so half 100, which is 50, add another 3, 53. In 1753, in the year 1753. Now this is in the Bikrami calendar, or the Bikrami years. So 1753, if we want it in our calendar, in our years, then we need to take off around 56 or 57 years, and that will give us it in our calendar. So it takes us down to 1696, 1697, so it's before this Bani was recited, before 1699, when Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji prepared Amrit for the first time. And obviously it had to be prepared, this Bani had to be ready before then, because they wouldn't have been able to read or recite it when preparing Khandidi Pahul. So Guru Sahib Ji is telling us that this Bani was written in the Bikrami calendar, which is 56, 57 years ahead of ours. And that's why it says here 1753. That's why Guru Sahib Ji tells us 1753. Sambat 17 sahas panijjay. In the 1700s, half 150, add another 3, 53. In the year 1753, but in the Bikrami calendar, obviously. So in our calendar, it's about 1696, give or take a year or a few months. That is when this Bani was first given to us.
Padrav Sudhi Ashtami Ravavara.
Padrav, the month of Padon. Now Padon is the month which starts in the middle of August and it finishes in the middle of September. That's when that month is. So it's in that month, Sudhi. Now the months in a lunar calendar are split in half. They have around 30 days in their calendar as well, or a lunar month, around 30 days, but they split in half. And one half is called Sudhi and one half is called Vadi. Sudhi and Vadi. So when we have a moon, when we have a new moon, and the moon, when the new moon is developing, that is called Vadi, and we call Sudhi when we've had a full moon, and the moon, as we see it day by day, comes backwards, where it comes to having no moon. So Sudhi is when we've already had a full moon and it's coming backwards day by day, and in half a month's time or half a lunar month's time we're going to have a day of no moon. And Vadi is describing when you have a new moon and it develops into the full moon. So this is Sudhi. So what day of the Sudhi? So it's from full moon, it's coming backwards to having no moon. Ashtami means the 8th day of the Sudhi. So in the month of Padon, which is from the middle of August to the middle of September, on the 8th Sudhi, when the moon is coming backwards towards Masya of having no moon, and then what day was it? Rav. Rav means sun, or the sun. That's how in Gurbani Maharaj describes the sun. Rav. Vara means day. What day is the sun? the day of the sun. Well, that day is Sunday, so that is actually the day Sunday. So in the month of Padon, middle of August to the middle of September, when the moon is in Sudhi, on the 8th day of Sudhi, and the day itself was Sunday.
Tir Satadrav Granth Sudhara.
Tir Satadrav Granth Sudhara. Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji is telling us that on the banks of the river Satluj, this Granth was Sudhara was completed on the banks of Satluj in the Bikrami year 1753. Now, again, we could question, why are we reading this? Because this is just information. What blessings are we going to get from this? So that's another reason why those external agencies have cut this bit of Sri Chaupai Sahib, and in some Gutke Sahib it doesn't get printed. Their argument would be, well, this doesn't give us any blessings or any blessing kind of teachings. It just describes the year and the month and the day when Sri Chaupai Sahib was recited. But again, we can take that further and say, in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, there are many parts of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji where there is no specific teaching, where Guru Sahib Ji is just describing the part that has just been written, or what's been written, or how many paudiyas have been written. 16 Ashtapadiyan in Gauri Rags, Sadhguru Sahib Ji just describes how many Ashtapadiyan they've written, and they recite that many times. So even there, they're just saying how many Ashtapadiyan, how many verses they've written. It doesn't give us necessarily any teaching. But we read that in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, because whatever Bani has been written down, we must always read and recite it. Because it doesn't matter what message we're getting, by reading and reciting, we are going to be blessed. So this is the 29th pauri of the section of Sri Chaupai Sahib. But Sri Chaupai Sahib is then completed by reading a Svaya and a Dohra, which comes from a different part of Sri Dasam Granth Sahib Ji. But Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji brought those verses and adjoined them with this part to make the complete Sri Chaupai Sahib. And continue, we're going to listen to this Svaya.
Svaya Pahe Gahe Jab Te Tumre.
So this verse is called Svaya Pahe Gahe Jab Te Tumre. When I have come to your feet, your Charan Akal Purkh Waheguru,
Tab Te Kahun Aankh Tare Nahi Aaneo.
And I do not bring anyone else in my sight, so I only come to your feet, Akal Purkh Waheguru. I don't go anywhere else. I don't go to any false prophets. I don't go to any other spiritual leaders. I only come to your feet, Akal Purkh Waheguru. Your feet in this world at this time is the Charan Sharan of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, your sanctuary, Akal Purkh Waheguru, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji in the Gurdwara. I've only come to your feet. I don't look at anybody else as my leader, as my guru, as my prophet, as my enlightener, as anything. It's only you, Akal Purkh Waheguru, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. I only come to you.
Ram Rahim Quran.
I don't believe in Ram as in Ramchandra. I don't believe in Rahim as in the name given to you by the Quran. I don't believe in you as in Ramchandra, the name given to you in the Qurans. So the texts of the Hindu faith, and they're preaching to Ram, and the texts of the Islamic faith, the Quran, and the teachings that they give you about Rahim. I don't believe in any of those Granths, Akal Purkh Waheguru. I don't believe in the Qurans or the Qurans or their teachings. But they talk about many stories about you, Akal Purkh Waheguru, and many messages. They give many messages about you. But I don't believe in any of those, because I only believe in you, Akal Purkh Waheguru, Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Simrat Shastra Ved Sabha Bahu Bhed Kaha Hum Ek Na Janeo.
Simrat Shastra Ved Sabha. Simritiyan, the other Granths, Shastra, the Shastras, and the Veds, the 4 Veds, again from the Hindu faith, Sabha. All those Granths, Bahu Bhed Kaha Hum Ek Na Janeo. Bahu Bhed Kaha. They say, even they give many descriptions of you and how to become one with you. Hum Ek Na Janeo. I don't believe in any of them.
Sri Asapan Kripa Tumri Kar.
Sri Asapan, again describing Akal Purkh Waheguru. Asapan, the wielder of the sword, Akal Purkh Waheguru, the Shromani, the highest of the high. Kripa Tumri Kar. You bless me, Akal Purkh Waheguru, wielder of the sword.
ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਕਹਿਓ ਸਭ ਤੋਹੇ ਬਖਾਨਿਓ
You bless me with your grace, Akal Purkh Waheguru, because मैं ना कहियो सब तोहे बखानियो. What can I say? What have I got to say about your power? How can I describe you, Akal Purkh Waheguru? You are the greatest of the great. So, to finish Sri Chaupai Sahib, in this Savaiya, Sri Guru Granth Sahib is saying, we don't believe, Guru Sahib is saying, I don't believe in anybody. I don't believe in any of the faith, whether that's the Eastern faith, and Guru Sahib uses the Hindu faith to describe all Eastern faiths, whether that's the Islamic faith or any Semitic faith, and Guru Sahib is using the Islamic faith to describe all Semitic faiths. We don't believe in any of their granths. We don't believe in any of their spiritual leaders. We don't bow down to them. We don't need to go to them. All we do is come to your Sharan Akal Purkh Waheguru and Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and all my pains, sufferings, sorrows, anguishes, all my problems are all sorted.
ਦੋਹਰਾ
And Dohra,
ਸਗਲ ਦਵਾਰ ਕਉ ਛਾੜ ਕੈ
Sagal Dwar Kau Shadaka, Sagal Dwar, all doors Kau Shadaka, by leaving all of the doors. So all these paths in this world, religious paths, spiritual paths, I've left all those doors. I've even left the door to falseness, the door to society, to duality. I've even left that door, so I've left all those doors.
ਗਹਿਓ ਤੁਹਾਰੋ
And I've
ਦਵਾਰ
come only to your door, your Dwar, Akal Purkh Waheguru, your Dwar, where Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji resides in this earth.
ਬਾਹੇ ਗਹਿ ਕੀ ਲਾਜ ਅਸ
Bahe Gahe Ki Laj As. Laj means our large self-respect, our dignity. Hold me in your hand, it's a benti. Bahe Gahe Ki Laj As. I've come to your hand to save my dignity.
ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਦਾਸ ਤੁਹਾਰ
Gobind, so we can describe Gobind here as Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji doing the request, or we can describe Gobind here as being the name of Akal Purkh Waheguru. Gobind is translated to be the master of all this universe, of all creation. And it also describes to the one who looks after our indriya, our senses. So they look out for us, our protector, the protector of the universe, the protector of us. Das Tohar, slave Das Tohar, I am your slave. So Akal Purkh Waheguru, I've left all doors. I've come to your door. Protect me with your hand, protect my honor, my dignity, my respect, because I am your servant, master of the universe. And that is how Sri Chaupai Sahib finishes. So to gain the complete blessing of Sri Chaupai Sahib, you have to recite all 29 Pauriyan, including the Aril and the Chaupai that we've heard. Even though the Chaupai just describes when Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji completed this Bani, we still recite it, otherwise we don't get the complete blessing. Those who question Gurbani from Sri Dasam Granth have an answer straight away in the Savaiya that this Bani is the Bani of Akal Purkh Waheguru, because many times over, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, the 10th form of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, says they don't believe in any of the faith, in any of the path. They only believe in the path laid down by Akal Purkh Waheguru, brought down by Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. And even though they themselves are the 10th form of Waheguru on this earth, they are showing their humbleness by saying that, because if they never said it, we would definitely not believe it. Some of us don't believe it now, but we would have definitely not believed it if they didn't say it themselves. And that's why we finish with this dohra, that I've only come to your door, I've left all of the doors, and you will protect my honor. Now, a Sakhi comes to mind just before we end to explain the power of Sri Chaupai Sahib. Now, it actually comes in the time of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. So it's about how Guru Sahib Ji protects us. This is the Bani of our Guru. So in this day and age, when we have Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Shabad Guru, the way we're going to get protected by our Guru is by reciting Gurbani. That's how they protect us. And so this example is how Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji protects their Guru Sikh, who leaves all of the doors and just comes to their door. And if we recite Sri Chaupai Sahib, the same will happen to us. There was two people in the time of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. One was by the name of Jamal. He was a Pathan. Pathans were obviously Muslims, but they came from this Afghanistan side. He actually lived at that time in Lahore, which is now obviously in Pakistan, and there was a Sikh, a Gursikh of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji named Patang. Now Patang, he used to have a shop, and in his shop that he had his business, many people, whenever they would go places or wherever, they would leave things with him because he was a trustworthy person. He was a Sikh of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. He lived by those teachings of Naam Japana Vand Ke Shakana Kirt Karni. He lived an honest life. He was a righteous, a truthful person. And many people would leave their possessions, their belongings with Patang, Bhai Patang, and he would write them down in his book to remember, and then when they would come back, he would give them back. Jamal, at that time, obviously followed the Islamic faith, and he followed many spiritual peers, or he had many spiritual prophets or leaders that he believed in and followed. He was actually from Afghanistan, but he was a well-to-do businessman, and he lived in Lahore. One time, he gave 800 gold coins to Bhai Patang to look after, because he was going back home to Afghanistan from Lahore. And when he was going back home, he didn't want to carry all his money, and he could only trust this Gursikh. So he tied him up in a bag, his 800 gold coins, and he left them with Bhai Patang. Now at that time, Bhai Patang didn't write those in his book that he would use to remember, because many people would give him things to look after, and he wouldn't, and to keep on top of it all, he would write things down in his book. And he put those 800 gold coins, because it was a lot of money at that time, it's a lot of money now, 800 solid gold coins, he put them in a safe place in his shop. Jamal went back to Afghanistan, and when he came back after 6 months, came back, and obviously he wanted his 800 gold coins. He came and asked for his 800 gold coins, but when he gave them, like I said, Bhai Patang had forgotten to write this down in his book, and he'd forgotten that he'd taken possession of these 800 gold coins. And he said, I haven't got your coins, look in my book, I haven't. And Jamal, obviously telling the truth, said, I gave you these 6 months ago, before I went to my villages. And Bhai Patang said no. And what, obviously, they were decent citizens, both. Bhai Jamal was a decent citizen at the time. He obviously reported it to the police. And in those days, obviously the police took the case, and Bhai Patang was taken to the magistrate's court. He had to come to court to answer. Now in those days, it was, well, when you had a situation when it was one person's word against another, because there was no proof. Jamal was saying, I gave the 800 gold coins, which he did, and this Gursikh, who never told a lie, who was always truthful, who followed the teachings of the Guru, he denied it, even though he had took them. But he wasn't stealing them, he'd actually forgotten. He'd forgotten because he never wrote this in his book. And so it was a genuine mistake he was making. And in this court, they decided, because it was one person's word against another, they decided that, and in those days, this is what they would do. They said, we will boil oil, and you would both have to put your hand in the oil, and whosever hand got burnt, they would obviously be the liar, and the other person would be the truth. Now, obviously then, Jamal was telling the truth. His hand would not get burnt, and Bhai Patang, who was a truthful person, who just made this mistake because he'd forgotten, his hand would burn, because he's actually got those 800 gold coins. Obviously, this wasn't going to happen on the day, and a day was set when this would happen. And up until that day, Bhai Patang, being a Sikh of the Guru, meditated on the name of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, meditated on the name of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, meditated on the name of Akal Purkh Waheguru, because they're one and the same. He recited Gurbani, did his Ardas Benti. And Jamal, he went to one spiritual leader, one Peer, and he asked him to do a prayer in his way for him. He went to another one because he was worried. He asked him to do a prayer. He went to a third, a fourth, a fifth. He went to many different spiritual leaders, Peers, or in this day and age we can call them Pakhandi, Babbe, or Dodgy, or false prophets, who claim to be, or claim to have the power of the Lord, and say they can sort all our problems out. And he went to those kind of places. The day came when they had to put their hand in the oil. Now, obviously we know Jamal is telling the truth. He did give it those 800 coins. And Bhai Patang is not telling the truth, but he's not doing it on purpose, he's just forgotten. But when they both put their hands in the oil, guess whose hand was saved? Well, the hand of Bhai Patang was saved. He didn't get burnt. And it was Jamal who was telling the truth. His hand got burnt. What happened there? Jamal is telling the truth. His hand got burnt. Bhai Patang, he's not telling the truth. Although he's not doing it on purpose, he's not telling the truth, but his hand is saved. Even though he's mistakenly not telling the truth. So, Bhai Patang went back to his house, obviously very happy that his hand didn't burn. But in his mind came the thought, and he remembered that Bhai Jamal had given him 800 coins. And he went and searched, and he found those 800 gold coins where he'd put them in the safest place. And he felt really bad, because he thought to himself, I was the one in the wrong, but I've been saved and he's been burnt. And I've got his coins. I can't do this. I better go give them back, because he was an honest person. He'd forgotten. So he goes to Bhai Jamal and he says, take your 800 gold coins. I'm really sorry. I'd made a mistake. I've made a massive mistake. But Jamal at that time said, no, I'm not going to take them now, because the court has ruled that you're the truth. If I take these now and they're found in my possession, I might even get more saza. I might get even more pains and sufferings from the police and the courts, because they might find these coins and they'll definitely believe I was lying. So I'm not going to take them off you. But tell me one thing, Patang. Tell me one thing. I went to all these false prophets who said they would protect me. Who did you go to? Who is your peer? Who is your spiritual leader that protected you? Because you obviously was in the wrong and I was in the right, but I'm the one who's got my hand burnt. And Bhai Patang told Jamal that I believe in the 5th Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. Their name is Tan Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. They are the 5th form of Akal Purkh Waheguru, the Almighty Lord on this earth. They protect all their Guru Sikhs. I remembered their name. And Jamal wanted obviously to meet Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. And they both went to the Charan of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji to find out what had happened. And Jamal asked, you protected your Guru Sikh. That's great. You have great powers, because he didn't know they were the Lord at the time. But I went to my spiritual leaders. They didn't. Why did I? I was telling the truth. I still didn't get protected. What law is that of the Almighty Lord? Why, if I'm in the right, did I not get protected? And Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji gave this teaching. They said, Bhai Patang, he is a Sikh of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, of the Almighty Lord. And if you are a Sikh, as long as you're being truthful, even if there's a mistake, you'll always be protected, no matter what situation arises. And that was a massive situation there. But you, Jamal, you didn't pray to the Lord, Waheguru, the one Lord. You went to many false prophets. You went to many false leaders. And one said he'd save you, the other said he'd save you. You gave them money and none of them could save you, because you went to so many. It's like also an example. If we asked our friend for help and we tell them a secret or something, but then we tell another friend, the first friend is going to get a little bit angry and think to themselves, he told me it was a secret, he wanted my help, now he's gone to somebody else. Why should I help him now? He can get his help from that person. And that's what these false prophets did. They took his money, but when they heard that he's been going to everybody, they thought, well, why should we help him? Let the other one help him. And the teaching there was that if you believe in the one Lord, you don't have to go to these different people. You believe in one and put your faith in one, and you will be protected. But that one has to be the complete power. And that complete power is Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji on this earth now. That complete power can be found by reciting Sri Chaupai Sahib. So just by reciting Sri Chaupai Sahib, you will be protected. But you need to have that faith, and you need to be the follower of the teachings of the Guru. In those days, it could have been just as simple as Naam Japna, Vandke Shakna, Kirt Karni, and taking Charna Amrit. Because Guru Sahib Ji, before the 10th Master, Gurus used to give Charnamrit. So they still took Amrit, but they followed teachings as they were given in those times. And so Bhai Patang was protected. To finish the Sakhi, Bhai Jamal became a Sikh of the Guru. So originally I was calling them Jamal, but obviously they became a Bhagat and a true Gursikh, and they became Bhai Jamal Ji as well. Both of them became true Gursikhs of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. And Guru Sahib Ji said to Jamal, Bhai Jamal Ji, we take these 800 gold coins back, because Bhai Patang, he didn't mean to keep them. It was a mistake. But Bhai Jamal still said, no Guru Sahib Ji, I'm giving them to you because of your great power. I'm donating them to you. Guru Sahib Ji still didn't take them. And they gave them to Bhai Jamal Ji. But Bhai Jamal Ji then went and donated them at Sri Harmandir Sahib. So gave them in the Guru Ki Golak. So they still donated them back to the Guru Kar. And Bhai Jamal Ji and Bhai Patang Ji are two Gursikhs named in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji in the Bani of Chaupai, where two other Bhagats are named. Bhai Jamal Ji, Bhai Patang Ji are named in there as Gursikhs of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. But this Sakhi shows that if you come to the sanctuary of the Almighty Lord, the absolute complete power, with no opposition, then you will always be protected as long as you're following their path and as long as you're being truthful, even if you've made a mistake. Just like Bhai Patang Ji did, as long as you're a truthful person, and not just being truthful, but you follow their path. And in this day and age, that path is Khande Bhatte da Amrit, giving your head spiritually to the Panch Pyare and joining on the Khalsa Panth, and then following by the rules of the Khalsa Panth, by reciting your 7 Banis Nitnem, by keeping the 5 Kakari Rehat, by staying away from the 4 Bajjar Kreta, by staying away from Joot, and staying away from Joot. And if you stay away from those, and you follow the Rad, and you give your time to the Guru, your mind, your body, your wealth, then you will always be protected, because you don't need to go anywhere else. You follow their sanctuary. Sagal Dwar Ka Shadaka. If you have left every door, I've come to your door, Akal Purkh Waheguru, Gaheo Toharo Dwar, Bahe Gahi Ki Lajas, protect me, save my honor, save my dignity with your hand, Akal Purkh Waheguru, Gobind Das Tohar Akal Purkh Waheguru, the protector of the universe, the master of the universe, the protector of all your creation. I am your slave, I am your servant, I am your Gursikh, I follow your path. Always protect me. And if you recite the whole of Sri Chaupai Sahib as we've heard it this week and last, we recite it with our mind as Guru Sahib Ji, the Almighty, all-powerful Lord, has promised us in this Bani. They will protect us, they will do our Rakhya, and they will remove all vigor, all obstacles on our path for spirituality. They will give us everything we want, whether that be worldly or whether that be spiritually. In translating and sharing the teaching of Sri Chaupai Sahib, must have made many mistakes. I may have offended somebody. I beg for forgiveness. You, the Saad Sangat, can bless me with Brahm Gyan, so I can continue sharing the teachings of our Guru, so we can all find that eternal bliss while we're living, and so we can all share and experience that together and break free from the 8.4 million birth and death life cycle. Deho sajana sishriyan, jo hoga sahib syo meel, sagal dwar ka uchad ka, gaheo toharo dwar, bahe gahe ki laaj as, Gobind das tohar. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.